Here we are, bottom of the Smash Mountain, and today I'm so excited to be joined by Tezlik, who some of you know as one of the head admins for the Melee Online Discord, and among a bunch of other things, acts as a TO as well for, I don't want to get this wrong, at STROS Esports. Oh, wait, with an E, Stros Esports. It looks like the word Stros, right?
Yeah, it's St. Rose, so the College of St. Rose in Albany, New York.
So that is about the area that you're based out of currently then. Very, very cool.
Mhm.
So, Tezlik, thank you so much for joining me.
Happy to be here.
Yeah, so that is a good place to start from. St. Rose. Never heard of this campus before. So, is it a university? Is it a college? I don't even know how they're different, but what's the school like?
I really I really couldn't tell you what the real difference is. So St. Rose, it's there are kind of several different colleges in the Albany area. One of the big ones that comes to mind is U Albany. For example, Toussaint actually goes. I think maybe he still goes. If not, he went to U Albany. That's how he kind of became part of the Capital Region scene. But also, Dark Wizzy is at U Albany. There's also Siena, and then there's a couple other ones, but not far away is RPI, which also has a very big melee presence. So St. Rose is kind of like not too, or at least previously wasn't too established. I'm kind of the only real melee player. Like, we do have like an esports team. I kind of am the melee team, but I kind of decided to branch out. And since we have a whole esports arena, which is to a layperson kind of just a very powered up computer lab. But it's got like it's a really fantastic space, and I decided that like I really wanted to host a local out of it, and we're going on I think 8 weeks at this point. Next one will be on ninth. But so far, it's been small, and probably due to COVID and just people coming in and out of the area for school. But for starting out small, I'm still like very happy with it. Um, it's like definitely a learning experience. I haven't really run a tournament like previously. I ran one or two tournaments at like my local library. It's the same region, but close to my house. Um, and then I think maybe a few in high school. But I'm like kind of fairly, I'd say, a little bit new to at least running these like consistently. Most of the other ones were kind of like a pop up, like you know we are in and out in one day. Whereas with the arena, we don't have to move monitors. I leave power adapters and cables, and I basically just shove them behind like the rest of the setup. So it's all out of the way. It's like, oh, we have 6 Wii's in a locker and USBs to go along with them. The setup and teardown, I gotta say, for monitor tournaments is like fantastic. Um, but yeah, so far, pretty happy with that.
But you don't get there day one, like you said. You had done a little bit of the pop up kind of tournaments where it's like, oh, are we going to do something? Oh, yeah, sure, let's do something. And then you like go crazy and go to the library instead of having it at somebody's house. So, with your origin story from Melee, how did you first get in? Did you play the game first, and like how did it start for you?
So prior to when I first like really got kind of serious about it, I played it like once or twice at a friend's house. Which I'm only like 20, so I'm not much older than the game itself. Um, uh, but I played it probably like a little early in high school. I played a couple times at a friend's house, but I was really kind of getting into Smash Four. I want to say my junior year maybe, so looking like 2017. And a friend of mine who I met through the Smash Club was like, "Yeah, I really want to try out Melee," and it kind of just went from there. I went to at the time our local was in Troy, so around our RPI area, probably half an hour from Albany, um, at Pastime Legends, which if you've ever seen like an older, probably like 2015 ish VOD of Muti King, he was actually sponsored by Pastime Legends for a little bit.
Ooh.
But they're like a retro video game store. Couple areas, locations in the capital region. So there's a space next to their store that they're leasing. Um, it was basically like a very narrow kind of space. The walls were like lined with Trinitrons, like the exact same model 13-inch Trinitron, and then like a stream setup like at the very back. Um, it was a really really interesting space. I was definitely like kind of nervous. So my first few times going, it was pretty daunting, different from like sitting and playing on a flat screen in our school cafeteria. It was really fun though. Like a lot of the people that I met, I still like talk to. The scene hasn't changed too much. We've gotten some new people over the years, but a lot of the people that I met at my first few tournaments, I'm still and especially with COVID, like you're basically just coming back and seeing people I haven't seen in a while. It's really awesome. But I kept going, and it took a while, but I started to like kind of improve and like kind of figure things out. Um, but yeah, no, it was like a really big learning experience to go from basically doing nothing, not knowing anything about anything, to just like sort of playing with purpose. And it was really interesting. It's at least interesting to kind of go back and think about.
When you first had your breakthrough of going because of a friend to you're going because you have friends that are already there, would you consider that a more fun of a breakthrough, or when you first went 1 and 2 instead of 0 and 2? Like, is it the accomplishment or the fact that you're assimilating more into the community?
Honestly, both of those things kind of happened at the same time. I
Ooh.
uh I really like it took a little bit, but I definitely like as I got more comfortable, I started to like be able to take people much more, much closer. And these are still like very small tournaments, so there weren't that many people that were around my skill level of like just starting out. Which is kind of like the unfortunate thing about these like eight or less player brackets, like especially if you've got like our like Pig or Bills or someone who's just like unbelievable at the game. And and then your bottom two, it's like me and someone else who's really not that good. And it's like, you get a top seed, you already basically throw away a match because what are you gonna do? These guys are insane at the game. Um, but yeah, no, I definitely like noticed after a while that I was much more comfortable and just could pal around with these people, which was awesome. Yeah, I was like already giving me more motivation to want to keep going and keep practicing. And then the breakthroughs kind of just came. The gameplay breakthroughs kind of came, pardon me, along with it, which was really awesome.
So who were you playing at first in the game? Like, what character did you decide to either play more consistently or choosing a main?
I actually like picked Marth from the start. I've played Marth for basically my entire time playing Melee. I don't know like why necessarily I gravitated towards him. It might have been uh watching the Smash doc and watching Ken do his thing and being like, wow, that guy's really good. Maybe I want to do that and play that
Mm-hmm.
character. I think it might have been also around the time that I was starting that Zane had one of his really big breakout wins. Oh, I'm sorry if you can hear that. It's my dog. He's
No worries, no worries.
going
This is a
crazy.
dog-friendly program.
But I definitely like saw that Marth players are kind of popping off, and I like also do like I did really like the idea, and I still really do. Having a sword is really cool. Being able to just leverage that to like insane like combos, and just the neutral game with Marth is really fun. I did also like play a lot of Cloud in Smash 4, so maybe I just really like the idea of having a really big hitbox that's disjointed. I don't really know, but I stuck with them, which honestly I'm super fortunate because like I know there are a lot of people that like some can't ever figure out. I mean, like, oh, I just like too many of these characters, and it's like it it makes it a little bit more difficult, because you're splitting your time between so many different characters. When if you were to just sit down and focus on one, which I know I'm sure that's not everyone's cup of tea, but if you do, it's like that. All that experience gets funneled into that one character, which I think really helped, kind of overall.
And then
There may
there's
be like,
people like Axe who can play just about every character better than most of us could ever even hope to. Just randomly pull out. I'm not just talking about Young Link or the Ice Climbers. I mean, the whole like pull out Mewtwo or something and just like take a set against somebody who's like ranked in Arizona.
Yeah, I mean that's the
That's the dream.
that's so funny. Yeah, I remember playing. I want to say it was like the weekly after Toussaint came back from Summit 6, which I was a part of that whole campaign to like get him there, which was super awesome. I remember being so pumped that he made it in. I was like so happy. Um, he like he was like, "Yo, I'm like so tired." But we played around one. He went Fox and just destroyed me. And I'm like, man, I guess if you're just that good, you really can just pick anyone and like do your thing and just be the better player. It was like insane. I'm like, and also, Fox is like a really good character too, but it's also like, wow, like, this guy's just so much better than me. Holy crap! Like, oh man, yeah, it was it's really interesting the kind of how like you can get so good at one character, but then all that knowledge, and it's like it's a lot of it's just because fighting. There's like the idea that like of like the neutral game, the punish game, where the punish game is like pretty standard, but like the neutral is like so abstract, and like that stuff really carries over even between like games. Like I picked up a couple other different fighting games. I've been mainly playing of those like Strive, Guilty Gear Strive,
Hmm.
which honestly I find that like if I didn't have a background in Melee or any other game really, I probably wouldn't be as good as I am. And it's I play May, I do a lot of the same strategy that I do with Marth, where I leverage having a big disjoint and keeping my opponent away. Um, but yeah, it's like there's that there's the abstract stuff, which I find really really fascinating to like think about in Melee, and I think it's really it's something that like I think is more pronounced, I suppose, in Melee more than other games, where it's like because you have so many options and so many different diverging outcomes from any given situation, where like you don't you really can't know. You can guess, but you really can't know what's coming next, and especially at the top level.
I mean, it doesn't have to be top level for me. Like I could be playing myself, and I'll just be going like, oh, I'm trying to think about too many things at once. In Melee, it goes through so quickly. I've played other Smash games. Like I love playing Smash Remix, which is the mod of Smash 64, and even then I'll be thinking to myself, I'm still like there's just a lot there's enough happening here. It's not like other games which can be fun, but I always gravitate back to Melee and Smash in general because of what I feel you can just express yourself in a way that you can in other games. And like and then you were talking about that a little bit, that there's like a certain amount of subjectivity. It's not just ones and zeros. Somehow they took something with ones and zeros and allowed it to look different. And that's why I always love like I get goosebumps when I hear a wife talking in a documentary about like styles and like have full control, kind of that kind of stuff. It's really really cool because I feel like having the tag thing, having that second identity, like then you're just sort of like creating something new even just by participating. It's really fun.
Yeah, no, it really is. It's you get to be whoever you want to be. There's no, the only rules are the rules of the tournament and the rules of the game, and it's like other than that, you just do your thing. And it's like whatever your thing is. Personally, I really like Marth's Down Smash. I think that move is really cool.
Oh,
I
hitting
honestly,
the tipper down smash is fun.
God, it is so fun, and even like more fun when I do it in tournament. Like the reaction of the person who just got hit by it, it's like priceless because they're like, "What? Like really? Tipper down smash?" It's really fun. What can I say? No, I like a lot of using a lot of Marth's like really weird, like I feel like underrated, underutilized uh parts of the kit, like um even just like going I I remember having a phase where I'll often I'd not really do the flow chart against spacies, like going for counter and going for all that. I'd just try and like go out and hit them. It wouldn't really work. It was a lot of just me messing around on unranked, but it's like you have the you don't have to do like the foundation, or
Mm-hmm.
the basic thing. Like you can do what you want to do, and it's like if it doesn't work, like there's a next time. That's kind of one of my sorry
No worries.
one of the things that really kind of stuck with me. I believe it's from a video by Corey Gaming, talking about fighting games and like how to like improving and just playing in tournaments, and how uh it was kind of an analysis on a book that Daigo Umehara wrote. And one of the quotes that really stuck out to me is like, um, once you realize that tournaments are just the playground for players who are trying to improve, and that the the winning is really just the fruits of your labor, and that comes with improvement, and playing to improve is so much more valuable than you know playing to win. Like that's when you kind of get to the point where you're not getting burnt out because you're not focused on winning, but you're focused on being satisfied with the improvements you're making. And if you can be there, that's like, you've kind of made it, and you're like, set to just be ready to figure things out and be ready to sit down and, go into the lab or go in and watch, game tape and all of that, and, figure out and formulate new strategies. I just think it's really interesting, kind of the improvement mentality, and that you are paying money for these tournaments, but in reality, it is just like an opportunity to play against people and see what you can do and see what you can work on. I think it's really really interesting.
It's a capitalist society. Money is what makes the world go around. That sort of thing. Blah blah blah. I mean, you have to pay to get food. So when you pay for an entry
Yep.
fee into a venue, I mean, come on, come on. It's I don't know if I would complain about that as compared to having to pay for bills. I like to complain
Well, I wouldn't
about
say I'm
those kind of things.
complaining about it, and this is just that it's just interesting that like that, and yeah, it's money at inherently it's a motivator because it is useful for a lot of things. I just think it is interesting. It kind of goes back to that whole thing, like you KDJ money matching really good players to get experience. It's like you got to put something on the line to really bring out the best in players. It's like you don't get those same that same sort of like spirit in just sitting down to play friendlies, and it's a very different vibe. I think that's just it's a really interesting kind of dichotomy of how how things work, and yeah, it's money talks, money gets a lot done. That's the thing.
Greases a lot of wheels, yes. So you're talking a little bit about just enjoying the aspect of improvement, the mentality behind that, trying to get better. But when you lose to somebody that you don't normally lose to, it's kind of hard not to immediately just go like, right? So how do you deal with
Absolutely.
that?
Honestly, I used to be not that great about it. I used to be like a really, really like have a really up mentality. I would get really mad. I'd get really frustrated. I'd scream and shout and say a lot of things I regret. I'm kind of happy that I'm not there anymore. I also had a didn't really know it for a long time, but really struggled with depression. But I kind of feel like I'm in a much better spot than I was then. And honestly, like when I lose to someone that is worse than me, or at least perceived to be worse than me, or I don't usually lose to, it is what it is. They clearly did something right because they beat me, and it's like if I got unlucky or got outplayed, that's that's why we play the games. It's on paper something should have happened, but you know where's the fun in just doing it on paper? Where's the fun in taking a tournament by the seeding and saying, okay, yeah, this is exactly how it goes. There's no upsets. That's it. Go home. That's
Because you
that's
were
why games.
you were starting to get really involved in a time where it was Armada Hungry Box for a lot of grand finals, and so the paper was kind of playing out. Like
Yep.
S2J would almost beat Armada, but then get reverse 3 0'd. Like it would just play out according to what it was supposed to. But that was what was really fun about Riptide this past weekend. And I do want to talk a little bit about
Oh
this
my
with
god.
you. is that
Absolutely.
I was listening to I was listening to it today. Sorry, Melee Stats. I don't always listen to your podcasts as soon as I should have, but I listened to it with the retrospective of knowing who won Riptide, and I'm going, they were right. It was just like, sure, Hungry Box should win according to like certain things, according to the most recent summit, that kind of stuff, but it could be Plup, it could be IBDW, it could be Wesrobe, it could be even like even like further down the line, something really weird could happen, and we don't know like who exactly is going to take this, and that's a little bit unusual for Melee events. It was really fun to watch that top 8 and get to be following along on the Melee Stats Discord, the Riptide channel where everybody's going, so and so beat so and so, and you know, just following along with that. Like the Axe losers run, oh, that was so cool to follow along with, like winning like 13 sets in a row just to make it to top 8 or something stupid like that. It was incredible.
Yeah.
But you were supposed to
It's
be there, Tezlik. So I'm interested from your perspective. You were somebody who, I don't want to say missed out. I want you to talk a little bit about how you were planning on going, and then like what are the life circumstances that led to you not going to Riptide?
Ooh, so, and yeah, I definitely want to touch on that point that Riptide was a really fun event to watch. Like watching Cody win it was so awesome. I
Incredible.
met that dude like forever ago at a regional up in Troy. Like such a nice guy. But yeah, I think I signed up for Riptide during like the second wave when they like reopened because they didn't realize how how like ravenous the signups are going to be. So I grabbed a pass. I was like, there's a chance I go to this thing. If not, I'll work something out and figure out, how to like get rid of it. I originally had a plan to go with someone from who was previously in the region, went to RPI. They live in Syracuse now, so I've been drive to Syracuse, drive to Ohio.
Oh wow, yeah.
Um, the problem is I'm driving from New York to Ohio.
Right.
It's a lot of driving. He ended up saying like, "Oh yeah, I can't go." This it just wouldn't work for. He's like, "Yeah, this won't work for me, and I won't be able to do this." And I'm like, "I'm gonna be starting school soon. This is gonna be like after the first or second week of school. Like, I don't know if I can really justify it." Um, so I made the call like kind of early-ish to say, I don't think I should go to this. I don't think it's gonna pan out really. Put a tweet out. I was like, "Yo, I got a pass if anyone wants it." Got in contact with a couple people. Ended up uh, selling it to Salt, Houston. I believe he's Houston Falcon player. I want to say he ended up getting like 33rd or something like that. So he cracked maybe not. I don't know. I don't remember. I know he did. I never seen he did pretty well. It might have been that or like 25th. But I saw that. I was like, oh, that's awesome. Someone who can go, someone who's like really, really nutso at this game, and clearly did pretty well for himself. I was like, it happens. I probably was gonna go and would have been a crazy drive. I would have been super super messed up the whole time. Just think about the drive back after doing the drive there.
Yeah.
Um,
Just imagine if the
it would
Melee
have been.
top 8 happened in the evening and you'd be thinking, am I
Oh my
driving all
god,
night? I'm going to drive all night.
I'd have to class on Monday. So yeah, I think it ended up for the best. I'm probably gonna wait for something that's like kind of a little bit more close, or maybe at a better time. I don't know. I can't drive like I think it's supposed to be like 8 hours, something like that. I was like, I cannot do that. There's no way.
Because that's the tricky part of it as well. So we now have the benefit of hindsight, or I don't know if benefit's the right word, but we're past Riptide now, and there was one confirmed COVID case, and pretty much all the attendees, or most of the attendees, are now in the process of taking tests just to make sure that it's not becoming this thing where it's like, oh, now this person has it, try to nip it in the bud as much as possible. So a safety concern, that's one thing, and school, of course, that's another. And I'm sure that, yeah, it's cool that Salt got to go and got to play really well and get to like a decent placing in top 64, or like you said, whatever it was. But come on, you deserve to go as well because like you are a paying person who loves the melee. So it would have been awesome if you were able to go. Like, don't sell yourself short. If you got to go, that would have been really cool for you to be able to talk to your future children or something and be like, I got to see IBW win the big one, or not the big one because there was another tournament called that, but got to win Riptide. I was there, first major back, or however you want to phrase it, but.
Yeah.
It was a really cool event. So let's talk a little bit about it. What were some of your favorite things that you saw? We can just kind of go back and forth with this a little bit because I mean a lot of things happened.
I think the big, like, really kind of interesting, eye-opening thing for me was Flash. That
Oh yeah.
dude, like, came out of nowhere. The only time I ever heard of Flash was goddamn SP99, who would always talk this guy up in Melee Sets podcast Discord. And then I maybe leaking a bit of patron content, but I believe in one of the patron channels, they're like, "Oh God, is SP99 right? Was he right about this? Oh no!" But now watching him like basically like, go off, like they're looking at his like previous events. He's like been to like one event or something like offline or something like that, which is like ridiculous. Dude just grinded in secret, in the mountains or something like that. Went and did some monk type shit. I don't know. But came out and got ninth. Like that's crazy. Beating Ginger, beating like a bunch of other really good players to get there. Like that was like really interesting. And that's honestly gotta say that is one of my favorite things about the out of all of the god awful things that have happened over quarantine. The one like in my opinion, the one like really interesting light at the end of the tunnel is watching all of these players that got really, really good over quarantine, um, going to majors and like duking it out with the old guard. This game is almost 20 years old, and we got like a whole new generation that like completely leveled up, and we're like the top level of Melee, like, well, I'd say like the higher level of Melee, not quite at the top tier. The top tier I feel like is still pretty consistent, um, at least with who's in it, so to
Right.
speak. But like that high tier of Melee is like so volatile. There's so many people that can be in it, and these the next few majors, I feel like it's going to be a huge toss up for like who can crack into the that top cut, and that whether that top 8, that top 64, whatever. I think it's going to be like really, really interesting to watch. And just the upsets that are going to happen. I am super excited.
So you're telling
It's
me that there are more Flashes out there, Flashes who move slightly faster than Ginger somehow, Flashes who are able to take a game off of Wizrobe somehow, Flashes who could like just be like, yeah, I live in whatever state. Like Flash lives in Ohio, so I don't know that. Like and that's where the tournament was. That's where Riptide was. So like, is Flash going to be at Low Tide City? I mean, I want to say no, just because. And Jmook is another good example of a hidden boss because like he'll pop up for one or two online events and destroy everyone. I very clearly, and I feel so bad for Ginger because he tends to be the person that up and comers beat. But like the amazing Final Destination game for one of these rollback events, I can't remember if it was a rollback Rumble event or not, but it was maybe the first edition of the Net Club. It's now called the Net Club in January, where Jmook just combos Ginger so hard on Final Destination. You get it. And I was like, oh, Jmook has to go to all of these online events now, and then didn't enter anything until like the charity net club event that was held for Hurricane Ida relief support. And I'm going, oh, come on, what happened? But I understand life stuff. I'm sure that has at least part to do with it.
Yeah. Funny that you bring up Jmook. I'm like a OG, like pre-COVID member of the Jmook fan club. That guy, I think he's like middle of upstate New York. No one knows about this guy. No one knew about this guy pre-COVID.
Except for the Wannabes. Shout out to the Wannabes
Oh,
podcast.
absolutely. Yeah, that's right. More upstate or more New York heads in general. In general, New York heads. But I saw him in maybe our big regional in Troy at RPI is See Me on Land. They've been hosting like big regionals forever, like far back as probably 2013, 14 maybe. Um, but like he would show up to those. These were usually the gimmick was like they'd fly out like one or two really good players. For the first one, they got Lod and KJH to show up, like paid for their flights and all that, or paid for like travel. But also like I remember the first one was like it was Lod, KJH, Slock showed up as well, which was really cool. And then
Oh,
Saint, kind of our big region defender. It was a really really good tournament. That was like my first big tournament. I want to say that was early 2018 probably. But I was like for my first really, and IBW was there too. But as my first like really big regional, I was like, this is awesome. Like I want to do this more. I want to go to more really big tournaments. This is great. This is fantastic. But yeah, Jmook was there. First time I've ever seen this guy, and he just like I want to say he had like a really good run, and he would keep he kept coming to them every time every time we held one, except for maybe one or two of them, he was there. Um, at the second one, he had a disgusting combo on a player who unfortunately is disgraced and should not be spoken about. But he this guy up so hard. It was absurd. He this there's one part in the combo. It's Sheik Marth on FD. Um, he does this ridiculous combo and ends it off by doing Marth Killer, but he's facing the ledge, and Marth Killer's into Sheik Fair, and it is like I still go back and watch it. I'm like, how did he do that? That was absurd. Like no one knew about this guy, but like that clip like remains like one of my like all time favorite like combos of all time. It was just so good. But yeah, no, this See Me on Land is like this is a really good series. I really hope it comes back after COVID. Upstate, honestly, for the most part, I would say it's not like a top tier region, but I think there are some really good players around, and it's kind of I think it's honestly kind of a crossroads between a bunch of different places. We're in the middle of a lot of very like 3 hours to the city, 3 hours to like Massachusetts, Boston area, um, 3 hours to the border, and then a few more hours to Quebec. I think it's like 3 or 4 to Rochester, and then like extra hour or something to Buffalo. But it's like it's central to everything, but not close to them at all. But it's honestly for what it's worth, and just being my home region, I'm obviously so biased, but I think there are a lot of like pretty good players here, and it's been really good.
isn't Northeast New York kind of like an honorary little subsection of New England, or am I making a bunch of people mad when I say that?
I don't think so. We definitely go to a couple of New England things. Like, um, there was a car. It was Pig, Billy, Bills, and I at Tom's birthday bash. Codeman
Let's
was
go,
there too.
G Town Tom, friend of the program.
Absolute legend as well. Holy cow, that guy is nuts. Um, I this is my second tournament of mine that he'd been or second tournament of his that I had been to. I still don't know how he runs a 96 person bracket. Almost
Swooper.
like that dude is unbelievable. Like
Just think,
unbelievable to.
Swooper could have won
Um,
a 100-person tournament if only 4 more people showed up, and that would have been like probably the first tournament ever that a Samus won a 100-person event. But those daggum 4 people just staying at home probably
I
and
think
not
it was a
going to the
96
birthday
cap
bash.
actually.
Sorry, go ahead. Sorry, what are you saying?
I think it was actually capped at 96. So
Okay. All
yeah,
right. No, I
unfortunately.
see how I see how that works in bracket now. G Town Tom is a legend. I will not question
Yeah,
it.
no, he's
But it was really funny and
genius.
awesome that Swooper won that event.
Yeah, it's a really interesting tournament. But yeah, no, we're definitely like close and can go to stuff. Western New York stuff is or not Western New York, Western Mass stuff is a lot easier to get to. But like, yeah, there's definitely like we're close. I wouldn't necessarily say I say we align more with just upstate in general, and more like with tri-state, but we're close enough that we can go to their events and they can come to ours, which is is really cool, and definitely would love to see them show up to more of our events. I'm kicking myself. The one See Me on Land where I could have met stock money for the first time. I was in Buffalo at my first semester of college. I was so mad that I didn't go. Partially, I was so mad because like there were a lot of really hype sets. That was one where they flew out Ginger and Fiction, I believe, which is like already a really good, like really sick cast. I want to say there's like I think it was almost a really insane upset at the tournament. I think it might have been almost beating Ginger, which has been so funny. But
Poor
yeah, no, it's
Ginger.
like there's yeah, poor Ginger. But yeah, there's just like the Northeast is like there's so much talent, and it's all like pretty well condensed. Like it, there's a lot that you can really go to. Like I got being in the middle of it, I got options, which is really awesome. Like for big tournaments, like I basically got my pick of the litter, which is fantastic, really.
I'm just excited for the possibility of Shine because that'll be an easy event for you to get towards. And it's like, it's supposedly the most player friendly one. There's just so many setups and such and such and such. And,
Absolutely.
I think that most of the Shine tournaments in the past, like, they all have some kind of lore to them anyway. So it's not necessarily just for the players who go and attend and they're in bracket. Like, there's just, just stuff like SFAT almost taking all of Shine 2016, right? If I recall correctly, it was Shine 2016. But okay, all that to say, that'll be one event that hopefully, if that happens next year, that I'll definitely be trying to get up towards. But I want to get up to a G-Town Tom event in general at some point because it'll also give me an excuse to bother the Alston Melee fellas. Love those people. They're very nice to me. Shout outs to Alston Melee.
Great bunch of guys. Gotta say, love how much the Melee content has been popping off over COVID. Like the amount of fantastic high quality videos and audio content as well that like we got Melee is very spoiled, I gotta say. Like with this how much we have to consume, it's like it's perfect, and it's all by people who really care. It's like it really is like it's awesome. I love it all. It's fantastic.
You don't have to worry about like leaving me out. I know that I called at bottom the Smash Mountain for a reason because like up at the top it's like Radio Melee and then there's also the Mix Up and Alston Melee. Wow, wannabes, and even the European Melee News Report, which is run by Exile, and I love that one as well. And then there's me. It's okay. It's all good. I just love talking to the people. What can I say? I'm like Radio Melee's like sick, twisted version of let's just pull somebody from the crowd and make them talk for a whole hour instead of one question.
Oh my god! Curious, you forgot Melee Stats podcast. I know.
We'll see. That's a meme as well because Edwin was so mad at me for waiting so long to ask him on. That was the first thing he wanted to do when we started talking. We hadn't even recorded yet. He's like, "Why'd you wait so long?"
God, he is so funny about that. I like had to hold my tongue. I was gonna be like, "Hey, you know who asked me to be on the other podcast?" Yeah, Cypher. Sorry, buddy, you got beat by me. Yeah, he's hilarious. Oh my god, he definitely plays it up, but god.
Not intentionally trying to make him mad, although I did think at one point I was like, I should get on Practical Tasks before I get on Edwin because there's no way that Practical Tasks would ever do something like this. There's no way. But if I could somehow do it before having Edwin on, that would be a true masterpiece, a true shitpost level of.
That'd be so funny.
Yep.
It's a nice bit of friendly banter.
Yes. Probably just wouldn't have ever wanted to come on. But anyway, I did forget Melee Stats. I forgot about Bad Melee. I forgot about... There's probably one or two more that I can't remember off at the top of my head. But the point of all that is to say, you're right, we are very spoiled. There's so much content, I literally can't even keep up. I try to just watch a little bit of everything. I particularly enjoy watching Toph because I think Toph is like more or less the voice of Melee. I don't know what you would say about that yourself, but what's some content that you like won't skip watching, if that makes sense, around Melee?
I mean, definitely at the top of that. They don't come out very often, but Melee Stats' video essays are
Top tier.
unbelievable.
Top
They're
tier.
like so good. I'm a sucker for John Boy's content. That I'm still waiting for 20,021 to come out. But yeah, like funny actually. I started my Patreon sub to them like the same month, and it was like right before that month that they I sub, and then they dropped the the um preview piece or like draft for the rough draft cut for Plub vs Prince of Boo, and I was like, whoa. That's insane.
That's real
I didn't
stuff.
realize this was happening, but this is awesome. I've been like just tossing them money ever since, but it's like their videos are just really really well crafted. A lot of really like just good like especially the details. One of my favorite of all time details in the Hanky Panky video showing the the mock tax return with the 4 players that were just mentioned as Hanky player Hanky Panky just like completely destroying them at Ohio locals, listing them all as sons as on the tax form as like a dependence. He's like, yes, he sunned these players so hard, and then listed them as his dependents on his taxes. Like, it's just such a good like visual gag. It's like if it's like this scrolling, you might miss it, but like if you go back and pause it and you read that, it's like that is hilarious. It's just like tiny witty little stuff like that. But other than Melee Stats, also Melee, they also make really good videos. They're nice and long, which I really enjoy. Just to like sometimes when I'm at work, I'll just sit and listen to them while I do literally whatever. Makes the time fly by and just listen about my favorite game. Other than that, I'm gonna cheat and check my sub box and think of the think of the videos that I definitely wouldn't miss out on. Okay, a lot shorter than the other two, but B&D Games, the task creator.
Up and coming B&D games, like putting in
Yeah,
some work. I love all the. I mean, it's not just the myths. Like those tasks are insane.
they're so like creative. Task videos in general are like fantastic. It's just like so interesting. Some things you just like would never think about, and it's like it's obviously a lot of these things aren't humanly possible, but like seeing this game just get completely broken wide open by like just it basically is like it's like choreographed in a sense. Like it's so interesting. I remember watching sort of related, sort of not. I remember looking up because I was curious. A task for Street Fighter 1, a game which has a notoriously difficult, like the motion inputs, like your Hadoken, Shoryuken, they're notoriously difficult, like for humans to do reliably, and they do an obscene amount of damage. So the task just does 2 fireballs and an uppercut and like wins every round. Like that's the task is just
Wow.
doing 3 special moves and they're dead. It's hilarious.
Watching Axe play against the Smash bot was
Oh my
hilarious.
god. I want to say I followed the Smash guy, the Smash bot guy on Twitter. I think it might just be the bot account. But he actually tweeted one day that he was streaming. And he was like, "Yo, come play against the bot on NetPlay." And I got to play a couple matches against a bot.
Oh yeah.
Absurd! Like, come on, the guy made it work on NetPlay, and obviously, I got destroyed. But like, that's like such a fun novelty. And then as a joke, I went into Melee Online and I was like, I linked the stream. I was like, yo, this guy is Task. Go play him. Like, yeah, he's literally Task, Right, perfect. And all of that. It's like really, really fun. It's just like a neat little thing to do. Like you play against the robot that is built to destroy people at Melee. Like, sure. On NetPlay during COVID. All right.
It's just fun to
That's-
watch, like somebody who's
Yeah.
like really, really technical, really good, like acts like actually have like a chance to win, but then like the bot got a crazy reversal, and Axe is just like, oh my gosh. Like busting up
It's
laughing.
so fun. Oh my god.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's great. Like that sort of stuff, people just doing the most creative stuff. And even yeah, we've been pretty used to it, but rollback
That's insane as
the
well. Shout outs to Fizzy.
custom oh my god, the custom menus. When I've on like when I first booted that up and I was like I saw the tweet and downloaded booted up, I'm like, this is I didn't realize that you could even do that. Like you made a custom menu and then made unranked. Like that's insane to think about. Like who knew that you could even do that? And you could even put, the cutting edge of fighting game netcode in a 20-year-old party game just through this emulator. Like it still kind of blows my mind that like that worked and now he's working on a ranked mode. Like that's insane. It's really really cool, and yeah, it like definitely saved our scene. Like it's amazing. I can never have enough words to say about that. I will say too that I've been using the Slippy mirroring at our St. Rose tournament. Um, I started experimenting with that. Noticed, or not noticed, but like started reading up about it. Probably like maybe 2018, early 2019 ish, back when it was like super new and not really being used. And like setting it up and like figuring it out for the first time, having to go into my Wii settings and set up an
Mm.
internet connection. You can only have 3 internet connections on the Wii.
Yes, I
You can only have
did know
3 of
that.
them. Why? But yeah, it was
Because
like
Nintendo said so.
yeah, they hate fun. But no,
Mm.
like just going and doing that, it's like all this obscure stuff, and then okay, yeah, you're playing the game on the console, and the emulator is displaying the same thing at almost real time. It's like that is absurd. I was like really happy to put that into action at my own tournament, but it's like, yeah, the Slippy is just insane. Like it is so cool. I will never have I will never stop talking about it. I'll never shut up about how amazing Slippy is, and more people should just be like raving about it when they think about it for like 3 seconds. We have a whole replay system. Every game. If we did it right, every single game of Melee at a tournament can be saved. Like without barring any hardware failures or anyone messing with setups, every single
Oh
game,
gosh.
every single friendly, every single match, like could be saved. Like that's absurd to think
I
about.
was just talking about this with Super Quack last night, where I'm going, I want to see those Armada versus Zane matches from Smash Summit 9 when he was there
Oh
coaching
my god.
IBDW. But we don't have them because they didn't do it on a Slippy setup.
Yeah, no,
Womp.
it yeah. I'm hoping that becomes standardized soon. I think that's definitely like an essential for tournaments is just get a couple really cheap USB sticks. Just get one for every setup. You can get it. They don't even have to be really big because Slippy files are tiny. Like you could really get away with like at most you need like a gig. And even then that's like generous. That would hold like a couple like probably a week's worth of Slippy files, something like that. I don't even know. Um but like I got a bunch of USB sticks, and so for every setup that isn't, the stream setup, I have, you know, a numbered USB. I just like wrote on it with Sharpie and was like, this setup goes to this one and all that. At the end of the night, after I power them down, I take them out to the stream computer, and then everything goes into a file system. I upload it to Google Drive, and then boom, it's all there. Every single match I was played, every single setup, it's all there, which is like, you know, fascinating. It takes like 5 extra minutes, and I'm sure it would take more if you got more setups, but like it's really really cool that we can do that.
Yeah, for something like Genesis, I can only imagine. I wanted to ask
Oh
you,
god.
yeah, I wanted to ask you to try to get in the direction of wrapping up. I know that we've almost been at this for an hour, so I don't want to take up too much more of your time, but I wanted to ask you about Melee Online Discord. Were you involved with its inception, or did you come in after that? And like, what do you do now with Melee Online as an admin?
Oof. So I did not. I was not there for the founding. I actually joined on the day that it opened. So it opened on I want to say it was probably June.
So I feel
Yeah,
like June
June
22nd stands out
26th.
in my brain as when Slippy Rollback dropped in
That was a rollback
2020.
drop. The server opened it opened for general use on the 26th. That's when I joined. I think it took maybe a few weeks for me to apply for mod. Um, so I was mod for a while, and then like an opening on the admin team came up, and I was like, yeah, I'm interested in this. It's kind of like a technical job. So like basically managing the bots and like creation of channels on, basically doing all of the like the management work. That's kind of like what I do. I remember being really really fun when doubles finally dropped and we got to make a just a dedicated channel for it. It was like, open the floodgates. People want to play doubles. Let's, finally make a channel for this. So it's stuff like that where it's like there's things that need to get done, and the most of the rest of the admins, their specialty doesn't lie with knowing their way around Discord and these technical things. They're either more focused on the moderation side, which I also am, or the ranking side, which again I also kind of have a finger in. I just kind of do everything. I don't know. It's fun. I enjoy like getting to just do all these things and help the server grow.
Because this is a really important part. People come in and they go like, "Hey, I just started playing," and we all like have to say, "Oh, yes, okay, let's keep you in. We're very happy you're here." Like it, because nobody else is doing that. Big organization with billions of dollars to burn, and you're not going to lift a single finger. So we are grassroots, baby. We are going to make those people feel welcome. So I really appreciate that there are people like you who keep the Melee Online Discord running. Even though, like as myself, I don't utilize it a whole lot. I more of just like bug people who I know have Slippy, and I go like, "Do you want to get a match in real quick?" And I should also clarify, I'm very new to Slippy in the first place because lived in an apartment for a while, had no internet. Now I'm here, I have internet, but I also like podcasting still, so you have to keep balancing. Another strange thing for me. So I don't like all the things that are going down in Philly related to Melee. So I've more or less stayed away. I haven't tried going to any of those events. And then Pittsburgh's far, and I love Johnny Gamble.
Yeah,
Shout outs to Johnny. But
Johnny's a legend.
but Pittsburgh's like a 4-hour drive. So
Yeah, I
so
can
I'm
see
not
that. It's a bit of a tough situation to be
I'm
in.
not gonna go. I'm not
I
gonna go
totally
to
get
every
it.
mole or try. You get it. I also have a family. So all that to say,
Well, yeah, that too.
I think yeah, that's kind of a small thing. I'm thinking to myself, I need to try to get to some events, and I want to do that. But then I also like because of all the other things, I'm going. But the magic of Slippy is that we can play, and the magic of something like the Melee Online Discord is that there are people who are just trying to make sure that people who become interested in the game stay interested in the game. Harkens back to when you first joined in, when I first joined in, and people were nice, like Patty from Austin Melee. Like I had barely done like 3 podcasts, and I was like, "Thank you for inspiring me to start my own." And he's like, "Yeah, I'll hop on if you want." And I'm like, I wasn't even asking. What? That's insane. But
Yeah,
like that's Melee.
that stuff is awesome. Just the recognition. I remember playing a stream set probably a few months after I started, and someone coming up to me and saying like, I noticed like over the past few months you've been getting like, you've been improving a lot. Like, keep it up. Like, good stuff. I'm like, that felt really good. It's like I didn't really know this person at the time. But it's like that just is like a great feeling, and yeah, like getting some recognition is like, because Melee, it's not easy. Like it may, some people might take it for granted because they've been playing this game for years, but like starting out is so hard. There's so much to figure out, and like you feel like there's only so much time in a day, which at the end of the day there is, and you can only spend so much time on it depending on where you are in your life. Honestly, I'm lucky I started in high school because they gave me just so much time to do Melee and Coast, which still paying for now, but yeah. I'm figuring all that out. But yeah, no, it's like there really is only there's so much to do, and that's kind of the beauty of it, but also like it is really daunting. Like I know one of my players who plays Ultimate and also plays Strive, he's told me that he's really interested in Melee, but it's like he's like, it's just so daunting. Like it's really intimidating. It's like, yeah, I get that. And it's like, but if you ever want to try, like, trust me, I love this game and I want people to see that, and I want people to understand why I love that game. And you know what? They'll probably end up loving it too, because it really is, you know, it's a masterpiece. It really is.
And
It's completely.
shout outs to the people who run Tired of Going 0-2 on the West Coast, the people who run Only Noobs for the East Coast. Like there's like amateur brackets for people who like, hey, the good people, you can stick to the Rollback Rumble events or East Coast Fridays or what have you. We want to have like some newer players join and not feel like that they're going to get stomped on as soon as they enter into a bracket. And then of course, if you are getting to a point where you can actually play a little bit more confidently, you have TMT. You can play in a ladder system. That's really, really cool. And then, yeah, like the online Discord, like there's like certain levels where you can go, all right, I am now ready for intermediate. And everybody goes, is that right? And you just, you can go from there.
Yeah, no, it is really good. And I do like that people are always thinking about newer players. It's, at the end of the day, like, they really are the lifeblood of the scene. Like, they have everyone ever was a new player at one point. And, who knows? There could be some superstar that's picking up the game tomorrow and like just fiddling around with it and finding out how deep everything really is, which, it's really something. Like, Zane started in 2015 or something like that, right?
Right.
Like, absurd. A game had already been out for like 14 years or something at that point, and now he is, at the tippity top. Like, it's you know I always used to think that I was way too late to the party, but like, almost 4 years later, it's like, no, absolutely not.
That's party
The
time.
game's still here. There's still so much. The game's been here for almost 20 years, and we can probably go 20. Like, that doesn't seem too hard, I think, for where we're at and for how many people that we have just like ravenously supporting Melee. And it's like, it's awesome. It really is. It really makes me feel happy that I'm part of this community.
Shout outs to the kid that Nun tweeted out, I think it was like a week ago or so, being like,
Oh
oh,
my
is that
god,
Nun?
yes.
Is that Nun? And just
Is
like,
that none in my chat? Let's
clutching
go.
out a game.
Oh my
like we
god.
gotta win
This
for
one's for you, none. Like,
Nun.
dude. That, heartwarming.
Right. But like that the people like that who are on the younger side, like, treat with the utmost care, of course, but like that could be somebody who, time goes by and has played for enough time, like Ben, who's barely out of high school and
Yeah.
is like gonna be knocking on top 10 like in the next year or two, like for sure. Like the fact that Ben is already trying to get into top 8s even now, just so like when I know he's been playing for 6 years or something to that effect. I know that, but like the fact that you just,
He's still so young.
yeah, and its future's really bright, and I love watching Ben play that kind of stuff. All that to say, like, there are people who are not the famously and 15 plus year veteran known players who are starting to get close to the upper echelon, but like you said earlier, like how incredibly competitive slots 10 to 50 are, and even 50 to 100. Like, it's just insane that there's so many people, depending on the area, who could knock on a top 8 and eliminate some of your favorite players or some of the nationally known players just because, oh, you messed up, you're in my neighborhood. So I'm looking forward to see how all that plays out. I'm sure you are as well. To close out, I want you to offer any plans that you're trying to tentatively make for for Melee, for the young tournaments that you're running. Talk about those and tell the people where they can find you, all that good stuff.
Oh geez. Plans? I think for now, honestly, pretty content with where things are, at least with my own tournament. I know RPI is starting to come back with their club. Maybe not running events yet, but I know I'm definitely going to go support. Just because I go to a different school. Yeah, I mean, I've been going since high school, so like, I got, you know, basically like feel like honorary RPI melee, which funny enough, back when intercollegiate Slippy was a thing, they entered. I was actually a sub for one tournament, which is really funny. Like while I'm enrolled at St. Rose, they had me on as our honorary RPI
Well,
because they needed
well.
fit. But
I
yeah,
guess you
no,
could
it's
say
like
things are getting pretty serious.
it was an awesome time. I love those crew battles. But yeah, I always love to support them and always love super happy that there's going to be more melee in the region. Um, but I think probably just trying to make more innovations with my series. I know we're still trying to work out getting commentary and getting a stream consistent. Um, it's a bit of a weird setup for commentary, which we're probably gonna have to try and figure out at some point. But yeah, other than that, I know with Melee Online, there should be I believe there's going to be a big wave of rankings coming up, just thanks to Riptide and all the happenings of the new era of LAN, which is really awesome. But yeah, I think still getting into the school year, so things are still a little bit hectic. But I'm hoping at some point there will be a major around the corner in my in my neck of the woods that I can go out to. Wherever, if it's a Shine, if it's I don't know, somewhere else. I know there's a CT GamerCon, which isn't really a major, but probably a regional. That I was thinking about going to. I might not.
Just wait
I
for
do know.
RioBeat to make it a big event for New York City. I swear RioBeat's going to make it happen. Like, just all the things that are going well for the nightclub, it's really, really cool. And I feel
Yeah,
like, oh my gosh, like RioBeat was an amazing player and is an amazing player, but somehow might be the catalyst behind. There's never been a major in New York City ever since MLG stuff, right? Like, I can't think of one where it's like specifically
I
like
don't think so.
in New York City in the five boroughs. And I know you're not like around the corner from there, but I mean, hey, maybe you can help to be a part of that too. So you never know. So
Yeah,
all that to
I
say,
know. Yeah, I know. I am. I probably totally forgot to mention until now. Did link up at that G Town's bash with Trail, who ended up hitting me up, and I'm gonna be like helping him and Stock to his event, Trail Invitational, on the 25th. So not this weekend, but the next. I believe it's in Plainville. I know he's trying to make that like super stacked, but that'll probably be my next big endeavor. Originally was going to go to play, but he's like, "Yo, do you wanna help TO?" And I'm like, "Absolutely, I'm down." Um, which I am a sucker for TOing events, so I'm super excited.
well,
Um,
when
yeah,
it's at like him in stock, basically being like Tezlik, join us. You go like,
like
okay, all
that.
right.
I'm in good company. There's some big names there. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I think that's really all for me. That's going to be going on in the next few weeks, next few months. Um, and yeah, you can find me on Twitter at TEZ1K. Um, I don't know. My tweets are usually pretty dumb. I retweet some funny things. There's been an ongoing joke at our P plus local that I always get third. Um, call myself the third place master, which is really it's really funny. There'd be new competition coming out, and I'll still somehow manage to get third behind the two people who actually play P plus. It's hilarious. Every time they make a graphic and I get third on it, I just quote tweet it. Um, it's just a funny little bit. I want to say I've gotten third place like 7 times or something like that. Some stupid number. Like, how do I keep getting third? I don't know. But I think that's really all for me. And I really appreciate you having me on. This is a blast. I didn't know how much I'd enjoy being on a podcast. But
Aw,
yeah,
well,
super
you
fun.
get to talk about yourself, so I can't really claim too much credit for that. I wanted to thank you. Oh, and talking about your favorite game, I want to thank you one more time, Tezlik, for joining me here on Bottom of Smash Mountain. Thank you so much.
Really appreciate it.